Stomper Be Thumpin', and this video is of the 2021 Coyote Run Hare Scramble race as part of the VCHSS Hare Scramble series. I am racing in the 30 plus C line, and I'm on a 2022 KTM 300 XCW. Just got it a couple weeks prior to this race. So I'm definitely a beginner. I've only done 3 of these so far. 2, this is now my second on this particular bike. 3 races ever. And yeah, second on this 300. So I'm still getting used to it. So I'm not really trying to get them hole shots. In the off chance I accidentally got a hole shot at this point, all these guys would just pass me anyways. So I just try to make it through the corner just fine until we can thin out and start putting in some turns here. So this course is in the mountains in southwestern Virginia in a town called Rural Retreat. It's on this operational family farm. It's such a beautiful property, and this one is a proper mountain course. There's lots of elevation change. This flat part you're seeing here, these spots are few and far between. But the race conditions were fantastic. Weather was really good. Dirt was really good. Just the usual East Coast slippery roots and rocks and stuff. But overall, really, really nice. So this hill climb here, this isn't it. Yeah, we kind of bob and weave and then we hit up a hill climb. But yeah, lots of longer descents and climbs as opposed to just like shorter sections. Definitely made for an interesting and humbling course. So I'm still getting better at a lot of this type of riding, and I'm watching YouTube videos, and I'm slowly but surely piecing together the advice that trail riders give you on there, and that's all coming together well. But there's about 3 or 4 takeaways that I had from this particular race. First is just that, yep, I am definitely addicted to this stuff. Had the pleasure of riding several different types of courses now. One on Eastern Virginia, which was a lot flatter, tighter woods racing than this even, and that was just a blast. And then of course we get to go and do these mountainous courses as well, which are just tons of fun. First major takeaway is that I need to stand up more. It's what everybody will tell you for most off-road discipline types of riding. It's whatever, moto, hare scrambles, enduros and stuff. That's beginner advice 101. Stand up more. Assume the correct attack position. Specifically for downhills like this. So I know that I try to do it as much as I can, but it is pretty fatiguing, which, I guess I just need to get into better shape. But stand up, squeeze the bike, elbows up. So I've been doing that more and more, and that certainly is helping a lot. The other major takeaway would be that I need to just simply ride this kind of terrain more, where you're doing long descents and long hill climbs, just back to back to back. Quite a few sections where we'll climb a section like this here. Here's that 300 XCW, just luggability that everybody talks about. So the 300 XCs and XCWs have the same exact gearing, 3rd through 6th, from what I hear. It's the gears 1 and 2 on the W that make it the wide ratio. So this is all 3rd gear right here. Yeah, I just need to practice this kind of terrain more to where I'm hovering over the rear brake and getting better at modulating it. I'm pretty well practiced at hovering over the clutch and front brake and rear brake, but modulation of all 3, it gets tough when I get a little discombobulated or like tired out there. Normally a combination of those things. So if I'm feeling fatigued on a particular downhill and then there's a series of complex turns, I'll have like a mental lapse where I'll just kind of delay pulling in the clutch by maybe a half a second or so, and that can obviously like stall the bike or just kind of throw you off. Or I improperly modulate the rear brake and I just grab way too much of it and I just lock up the rear tire. So you're doing that, you're letting it go. So that's the other stuff I need to kind of work on for these types of courses for sure. So that happens a lot. I clean it up quite a bit on my second lap, and I have far fewer stalls, but I had way too many to the point where that shot up the priority list of things I'm working on for sure. And also, I'm not used to riding two-strokes. I know you're not supposed to engine brake these machines really, but this is a TPI bike, so that's not really an issue too much. But just, I'm definitely used to that third brake on the four-strokes with the engine braking. So that's just something new to get used to. Not a complaint, just new dynamics of a new type of riding. Every now and then we kind of traverse some of these slopes and the course will flatten out a little bit. It made staying on trail that much more important though. And I've noticed it takes me about halfway through my first lap to really start to warm up mentally and physically and all that. Haven't ridden this course at all. I just showed up the morning of. So up here on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see a rider crash over this little log. That was just something so weird to catch on camera. I won't rewind it here, but obviously go check that out if you want. Looks like he found like a hotline or something. And he was cruising downhill, and then all of a sudden he had this awkward downhill log crossing at an angle came up on him. At the same time he's trying to deal with that, he sees me around this corner and come into view as well. I am on the main trail here, but yeah, that was just something wild to catch. Poor dude found a great line, but that line unfortunately ended in that weird log. Just loving third gear. I was in third gear quite a bit more this race than last. Last was a lot tighter with fewer spots, at least in the woods, to open it up. It was also a little bit more muddy, so I was just being cautious last race. Nice downhill here. There's that persistent stalling I was talking about. That's 100% rider error. I'm running tubeless, and I lowered the PSIs in the front and rear. I think I'm at about 8 or 9, 8 maybe in the rear, and I dropped down to about 11 in the front. Here's one of the uphills that was a bit more technical and tighter. There's also multiple lines you can take in spots. So some of the uphills were long and a little bit wider, almost like an ATV trail, but not quite. And then some of them were a lot tighter and more technical with multiple lines. So, oh geez, this is funny. So I just stopped to grab some water, and as I take off, I didn't know it, but I decided to fight this root ball. I just got in a weird spot. My front tires trapped and my rear tires on roots. struggling with trying to get out of this one. Whoa, easy.
Rear got stuck between two roots.
So I know on those sections you're supposed to rock back to where you have traction, weight the rear tire, load the flywheel, and then just kind of slip the clutch, and you'll boost straight up on out of those things. Well, as I rolled back, my rear tire went from one route to another route, so there was no place to really grab traction. So here I just kind of got lazy, got off trail on accident, and ended up laying the bike down because I was just rushing myself. So this is on a pretty steep downslope, and I came down that descent right into a turn, and I think I was messing with restarting the bike because of rider error. And I end up off trail, and instead of just taking one moment and stopping for a second to see where the best line was to get back up onto this trail, I just decide to keep going, and I end up in this little crash situation. So I haven't moved an inch here, and I'm physically tired. I was tired before this crash, physically. And I'm just kind of rushing back up onto the trail because I can hear multiple lines of people coming. And in rushing, I set it down again. That means another little deadlift of whatever, 260 pounds. No, maybe this bike probably weighs like around like 240, 245 with a full gas tank. So there's a little better angle there of what the slope we're dealing with. Lesson there: when you're all tired on a crazy downhill and you end up off trail on a really steep section, just kind of take a moment. Don't just keep pushing through. You'll end up doing that. Lifting the bike up takes it out of you for sure. So this section's immediately after that, and I'm just kind of going slow. I take this chance to I'm sitting down, riding up this section, and this is the opportunity I'm taking to recoup mentally and physically before really pushing it again. And I need to start doing this more often. Instead of taking a break or realizing I'm tired before I lay the bike down, take a section of trail and just ride a little bit slower, recoup, deep breathe, maybe get some water, whatever you gotta do. Reset, and then you can hit it hard again. Great example. So I busted my light on a itty bitty tree.
There goes my light.
But another great example of I'm stalling the bike. I'm dealing with restarting it, trying to slow it down, trying to bump start it, and just
Good.
Hit this turn wrong. Laid it down. Totally avoidable. Really nice steep downhill. On the second lap, I include some footage of the entire downhill, so this one ends up in a little creek, but really long. There's quite a bit of, you can't really see it in here, quite a bit of loose rock and loose dirt, so you're fighting with traction, your tires are kind of sliding.
Got it. Thank you.
You drop into this creek bed here. So there were a few sections like this where we just cruise down the middle of this flat creek bed. A lot of loose rock, obviously, some small boulders here and there. Everything's wet, a little bit slick. And I feel like I can go a lot faster through here, but I'm not really trying to pass anybody in this type of stuff either, so just plodding through. Getting used to how these rocks feel. My second time through this area, definitely carried much more speed, which helped for sure. So for the last maybe fifth of this lap, these laps are 7.8 miles long on this particular course at Coyote Run for the morning folks. And for the last maybe fifth of it, you're in these lower creek beds. You're either in the creek bed on the rocks, or you're up skirting the river on these side trails. And these side trails are a lot of fun. You can really carry some speed through here. Section. Aside from the long hill climbs, which I just absolutely loved, I couldn't get enough of that stuff, even though it was pretty tiring. This section might have been my favorite. Oh yeah, I did a little wall ride there. It was a total last second decision. I see we're entering this creek again, and I see dirt on the right hand side, so I just decide to ride it as long as I can. A little sketchy, but I make a lot of those last second decisions out here. I'll watch those.
Oh, nice pass. Nice pass.
Yeah, he came up out of nowhere. I did not hear him behind me, and if he was revving his engine or giving the woo-woo pass, I didn't hear him at all. So he saw me take that little bypass, and he just hit that little log jump thing. I ended up hitting that later on my second lap. But yeah, that was a good pass. We'll see him again. Yeah, up here he took a spill in the water. But when I get to him, he's upright. Everything's good.
You good, brother?
And he passes me in like 30 seconds. So we're closing in on lap 1 being complete here. As you're kind of exiting the mountains and you're entering this little bit of a holler, you get some real fast stuff on the side of this ridge here. And you end up climbing up it. This is a cool spot. So they told us that today's course, being 7.8 miles long, at least for the morning group, the winner will end up doing 4 laps, which means that if you're new to Hare Scrambles, like me, it means once the winner starts their 4th lap, they start waving the white flag, which means you can only do 1 more lap. And once they cross the finish line for their 4th, it means that you are done no matter how many laps you've completed. Once you cross the finish line next, that's it. So I only end up getting 2 in this race. And I was super bummed because right here he's waving 2 more. I know they're just trying to give you an estimate, but I'm thinking, man, I might get 2 more laps. How cool would that be if I started 3rd? So I'm excited. Maybe a little too much. After that, a little hot going into that one. This was all mud on the left-hand side, so this is the best line, but you had to hit these roots coming up on. So here's one of those wider hill climbs. You can go way faster than this up this hill. I was just kind of tired standing, squeezing the bike. Really just focusing on technique and stuff, body positioning. But you did get some sizable ruts and stuff that you had to navigate. And here's third gear right at the bottom of it. Just lugging. So my second lap was a lot better. I think I had a minor little tip over once, but beyond that, I was quite a bit faster. At least I felt faster. I haven't seen the times yet. I'll put whatever position I got in down in the description below once I find out. Just that cool, like, tunnel, uphill climb feeling. Like tunnel vision. Again, I could go quite a bit faster here, but trying to measure risk, reward, and all that, and figuring in how fatigued I am, and figuring in that hopefully I can get in a third lap. But I wasn't fast enough on my second. So I think I pull in off the side of the trail. I think I slipped up, hit a root or something. Had a few spots where I'm pulling off and letting people pass. I'm trying to get better about waiting for a good spot to pull off to the side of the trail while still moving and letting people pass, not just jumping back on. But of course, always looking back to make sure that there aren't multiples passing. Try to do that more instead of pulling over and stopping. Really nice hill climb. Just goes and goes and goes.
He's a little bit faster than me. Only if you're looking directly at him.
Got that joke from my dad. Shout out, Pops. Yeah, some of these cats were hauling. That dude went by real fast.
Oh, that was scary.
So right here, I should be standing. I'm sitting, trying to conserve some energy. But that doesn't allow you to go as fast. Quite simple. So that's where I'm at right now. It's kind of a battle of doing what I know I should be doing to go faster versus being lazy and conserving energy. Right here, kind of fishtailing up the hill. Front tire got caught by a root. Front and rear tire were aiming in different directions. Just feathering up it in second gear. That was fun. That hill climb had some loose, slick, shaly rock on it too. I think this might be that long descent. And again, I'm using the camera I'm using is a GoPro 360. Obviously, only with the forward-facing lens going. So it's got a real wide-angle view. It's got max stabilization, and it's got horizon lock on it. So none of this stuff looks as intense as it really is. These descents, I mean, I'm looking at the screen right now. It looks like I'm going off flat ground. You can't even tell by this that you're actually going down a steep hill. So the climbs don't look so steep. Like the ruts and the roots don't look as deep or as big or as intimidating. But for a beginner like me, it's the camera doesn't do this stuff justice. It's such a shame. But yeah, it's a long descent. I think I've blipped the throttle just a few times through that whole section. It's been so steep. And this is where you dive right back into the creek. So I hit these rocks quite a bit faster this time. Just trying to do this careful dance of picking your line, because there are some smaller boulders through here, versus getting a good steady pace of momentum going and just hoverboarding over these things, just leaning back and letting the front tire ride up and over, no problem. I found that definitely a little bit more speed helps, and you could probably go a lot faster through there. I was, I'm not super experienced riding those kinds of wet, loose, slippery rocks like that, so I could probably hit those quite a bit quicker. Hear those fast Creekside trails. We got really lucky with the weather. It was such a gorgeous day. I think the high was right around maybe 90 or so. Yeah, see, I can go a little bit faster as long as I'm not doing stuff like that. Some spots. Get myself into a bit of a squirrely spot up on one of these sections. My rear tire catches a root or something, and the bike just abruptly goes sideways on me, but I recover as quickly as it screws me up. I think it happens anytime here. No, that's after this whole creek crossing. Rather than this one. That's always kind of what I'm afraid of, going real fast in those spots, is I don't know, just like the awkward root sticking up out of there. But it can be done. There it was.
That one got away from me.
Yeah, it was a little spooky. That was probably the sketchiest spot in the whole race for me. Didn't really do it justice on camera, but there's plenty of guys who blast through this area way faster than I do. So it's just a matter of building up confidence and technique and all that. Back into this little holler. So pretty through here. And at this point, remember, I'm thinking, I'm gonna get a third lap and gotta do it. Yeah, I'm definitely tired and fatigued, but I have plenty of water, and I just like pushing through that kind of stuff. So I'm really hoping that it was gonna happen. So I pushed it that lap. And I don't think I had too many slip-ups. I think I had a soft lay down somewhere, I forget, but I just immediately hopped right back on and kept going. So here's a little pedestrian crossing, and I can see there's finishers here, so and I can see the crowd of people. I'm like, no, I want to get my third lap. So this is a little disheartening. That said, I'm glad to have completed two whole laps.
No. So close.
Tons of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody.